Tech, weeknights starting at 7 Eastern, CNBC. Get yours.
Welcome back to Fast Money. I feel like something's missing.
Yeah, it's kind of lonely
here. The Bitcoin bug. Where is the Bitcoin bug? All right.
Few. Although
it
looks a little smaller than yesterday.
Yeah, unfortunately for the bulls. So what is going on in the crypto market here? Bob Pisani's live at the New York Stock Exchange to break it all down. Hi, Bob.
It's not a show without Bitcoin here. Another volatile day for Bitcoin in general. At one point, midday, the CBOE futures were halted for 2 minutes because they were down limit, 10%. The latest moves come as the South Korean government said it may implement new rules to regulate cryptocurrency trading. Those new regulations might include prohibiting anonymous trading accounts and could give authorities the ability to shut down exchanges. Now, this is important because much of the trading in Bitcoin occurs in Asia. In fact, half of all the volumes in Japan, essentially. Another 5 to 10% is in South Korea. The United States makes up most of the rest of it. We've seen wild swings in Bitcoin in the last month as retail speculators have driven up the price from $10,000 a month ago to $20,000, then down to $11,000, and now back to roughly $14,000. But the action today suggests that in 2018, one of the biggest risks for Bitcoin is not speculative risk, it's regulatory risk. Regulators in many countries, but particularly the U.S., Japan, and South Korea, are going to have to decide how aggressive they want to be with Bitcoin. They will be guided by two developments. First, how big the market actually gets. Right now, the total value of all cryptocurrency is below $500 billion, way short of the roughly $28 trillion of the U.S. stock market or $38 trillion of the U.S. bond market. But if it gets bigger, say 10 times bigger, to $5 trillion, for example, there's no doubt they will step in with a lot more regulation. Also, number two, a major blow-up in any of the cryptocurrencies or exchanges that leads to very large consumer losses will also likely force regulator hands. So don't let the fact that the Bitcoin cash market is unregulated mean regulators are helpless. Exchanges are licensed by states. So the state of New York, for example, licenses a number of the big exchanges, including Coinbase. And they're all subject to state laws that govern financial transactions. Back to you, Melissa.
All right. Thank you very much, Bob Pisani. So should we expect even crazier price swings for Bitcoin come 2018? Let's ask tech legend Roger McNamee. He's the co-founder of Elevation Partners. Roger, good to see you.
Great to see you, Melissa.
So you think it's going to be even more volatile? Why?
I sure hope so. I mean, the entertainment value alone is really something that can't be beat in the current environment. But, you know, you look at Bitcoin, and the thing that I would observe here is, as Bob said, it's still a very small market in the context of the larger financial world. But it has had a huge year, and we've done it around a speculative mania. And the thing that people forget is that if a mania goes on long enough, it becomes self-fulfilling. So that even after the crash that follows, there is a real industry. We saw that with the internet bubble. We've seen it over and over through American history. And I think that if you're a bull on Bitcoin, the thing you're hoping for is that it does exactly what Bob suggested, which is it has another big run in 18, gets it to a level where it becomes important enough that people care and they start to have appropriate regulation.
There's a lot of venture money going into Bitcoin-related companies, whether they be exchanges like a Coinbase or companies built around using the blockchain technology. Does this interest you at all? Do you see this as sort of making its way, surviving this bubble?
Well, as I said, Melissa, I think that when you start to see this level of activity around it, it can become self-fulfilling. I don't think we are there yet today at the current level, but with the level of activity going on, not just in Silicon Valley, but as Bob said, in Asia, there's an extraordinary amount of activity going on in Asia, that there are a lot of people who are willing to invest the kind of dollars it takes to make a thing like Bitcoin into a long-term part of the financial markets. And again, I don't think we're there yet. And I think the big thing about 2018, Melissa, is that I think we're going to find out one way or the other. I don't think it's going to be the end of the story either way. But I do think that it's going to be a year where if you have volatility similar to 17, and I don't honestly see anything in the outlook that suggests we won't, you're going to have these big swings up and presumably down as well. And you know, wherever that settles out, I think will tell us a lot about the role of Bitcoin long term.
It's
not my kind of thing, but I totally get why people like it.
And you're not in it, right? You're not in Bitcoin, any of the cryptocurrencies, nothing.
But I'm an old guy, right? I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm going.
You're a tech guy, Roger. You're a tech guy, though, right? You're on the cutting edge of things.
I know, but this isn't tech. But this isn't cutting edge tech of the kind I'm interested in. I'm looking at technology that makes the world a better place. And I think that the cryptocurrencies in particular and the blockchain as an underlying technology are still looking for what I would characterize as the use case that makes society and the world a better place.
So you're not sold on blockchain yet?
And I think if they don't find that,
you're not sold on blockchain
yet? Not as a business. No, right now blockchain is a cool technology looking for applications besides Bitcoin. And, you know, hopefully it'll find them. I mean, knock wood it will, because I think a lot of cool people are working on it. But for myself, I'm sitting there looking at this going, you know, I can own Apple at 13 times earnings. That's for what I'm looking for at my age and my situation. That works for me.
All right, let's talk about Apple since you mentioned it. They just issued an apology about what's going on with their batteries and the software updates. They slashed the cost of the replacement battery. Is this enough? Are they avoiding the black eye, or are the 8 lawsuits seeking class action status going to outweigh that?
First of all, I think this was really ham-handed public relations on Apple's part, and somebody needs to get smacked around a little bit for doing such a dumb communication strategy. The fundamental problem here is that Apple has a really positive thing for consumers in that it's made its operating system work with all the old phones. The problem is that the power consumption of the new operating system, the new functionality, is larger than what the phones were designed for. So they have to make all these changes, throttle them in order to keep the battery from either physically blowing up or just running out of juice after a few minutes. And there was a right way to communicate it. They totally blew it. But in the final analysis, this is not a big deal. And if it caused the stock to go down, that would be a tremendous buying opportunity. The way I look at Apple right now, they've got 13% of the global market here, but they've got more than half of the profits in this space. Their brand is in really, really good shape. The stock's incredibly cheap, and it's impossible, in my mind, for the market to have a good year in 2018 without Apple also having a big year. And so I like Apple a lot as a proxy for the market.
Hey, Roger, it's Tim. Simple question. Does Apple deserve a higher multiple or a lower multiple than it had 5 years ago?
Well, I'd say law of large numbers suggests lower. What's weird was it was grossly underpriced 5 years ago. And so the apples to apples comparison is a little tricky to make here. The way I look at the valuation, I do not think valuation is a barrier to owning this stock any more than it would be a barrier to owning the S&P 500, and it's a lot cheaper than the S&P 500. So I actually like the stock, like I said, better than anything else, in the leadership group of stocks.
All right, Roger, we're going to leave it there. Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Hey, Happy New Year to everybody. And listen, happy trading in 2018. I really kind of think that in a trading mindset, things look beautiful now. It only gets tricky when you start to extend your time horizon, but knock wood, we're going to get through 2018 better than we started it.
All right, well said. Roger McNamee, thanks. Pete.
He didn't sound very negative about all this rigmarole about Apple, right? I mean, it sure sounded like, and he said the same thing, it sounds like a great opportunity if there is sold off. It has not sold off at all yet, so I'm not even sure we're going to see a sell-off for Apple at this point.
You think we see a sell-off anytime soon for those people waiting? Yeah,
I mean, no. I mean,
people like Pete.
It's like a tempest in a teapot, as the expression goes. But I mean, I think exactly what he said. I mean, the market and Apple are one and the same.
Market proxy.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's a cheaper market proxy.
And I'm a market performer.
Yes, we know
Perfect.
that,
That's what I said. I said that on the last
That's really well said by you.
Still ahead. Still ahead. More Bitcoin. Commodities King Dennis Gartman just called it the silliest